This is my first backpacking trip with my new Durston X-Mid 1 tent, and I want to talk about some of the things that I love about it. First of all, it's a one-person tent, which means it's lighter weight. I normally have a two-person tent, but I went with the one person this time to save the weight and was hoping it would be big enough because I love to keep my gear inside the tent, including my backpack when possible. And the X-Mid is big enough to hold all of my gear, including my backpack. I even put my boots in here last night because the first night I left them in the vestibule and there was a bug in them in the morning, and I don't like bugs, so I brought them in. There's plenty of room. It's definitely smaller than a two-person tent, but it is roomy for a one-person tent. Another thing I love about it is the vestibules. First of all, there are two doors, which I love also, and two large vestibules. They can hold a lot, even though I keep my pack inside. It's nice to have the extra space. On top of that, there's a lot of room between the rainfly and the inner tent, which means when I put things in my tent, I can fill it up. I can push things all the way to the edge. It does not touch the outer tent, which means my things stay dry, which is also amazing. It is easy to set up. The first couple times it's a little bit confusing because it's not like a regular tent, or at least not like the ones I've had in the past. It would be hard to see because all my stuff's in here right now, but the inner tent is on kind of an angle inside of the rainfly. So it's a little different than what I'm used to, but it's not hard to get a good pitch out of it. And if you notice if the top is sagging or something isn't quite right, it's really usually just a matter of move one of the stakes over and you can pull on a little bit to figure out which stake that is. So it's not hard to set up. On top of that, you can set up the rainfly first. So if it's raining out, you put up the rainfly, your inner tent stays dry while you do that, and then you set the inner tent up inside of it. It's got some really nice features to make it easy to set up. The inner tent just clips. There's some clips that clip it to the rainfly. I love the way the trekking pole, so this is a trekking pole tent. I only carry one trekking pole, so I've got the one trekking pole here. They sell a separate pole you can use, and I bought one that I'm using over here. It's really lightweight, so it's lighter than carrying a second trekking pole, and I don't need a second trekking pole. I carry the GoPro with me, so I usually have one hand on a trekking pole and then I have the other hand free to use the GoPro, so I can't take a second trekking pole. So I like the option of the lightweight pole, and what I like about how they have this set up is that the trekking poles are outside of the door, so it's not in my way. It stays here outside of the door. I said I've got these two doors. They clip here with magnets, which is super convenient. Of course, the inner screen can do the same thing. It says on the Durston website or their videos or something that there's a porch mode you can set up too that will pull out this door if you have another pole of some kind with you, that you could stretch this out so it was open, which would be nice if the weather was bad. But they also say if it's raining, the overhang on this is enough that you should be able to leave the outer door open and not get wet. I mean, unless of course the rain is blowing in from that direction. So, but because you've got two doors, you've got some options there. So that's a nice feature as well. It puts up with 4 stakes, so it's a semi-freestanding. You've got to have some kind of stakes to make it stand, but 4 stakes or pegs is all it needs to make it work. They give you 8, I think it is, 4 large ones and 4 small ones. Yes, there's 8 pegs in there. The small ones are used for guy lines or sneaking the doors out, which I've done right now. So I'm using 6 pegs, 4 big, 2 small. I don't have the separate guy lines out because the weather's fine here. I have no need for that. Overall, I've been very pleased with it so far. I have not put it through any difficult weather testing yet because I haven't had it that long and the weather's been really nice. But this was a good test for it just to see how it is to set it up. And the roominess of it, I was a little concerned not having had a one-person tent in a very long time, but I'm very happy with the room. I also want to say too, one of the things, let me undo this, the zippers on it are so nice. This is the inner one, which isn't so obviously good or bad as the outer ones, but I'm going to say the zippers on these are all really nice. They're really open, easy to open and close. And I haven't had any issue with fabric catching, which was an issue on pretty much everything else I have. I also really like the vents on it. It has a vent at each end, and there's something more rigid that holds those open if you want, so there's good ventilation on each end. I got this tent, first of all, because I wanted something really lightweight, which this is. And because it was ready to go, I didn't have to do any seam sealing or anything complicated. It's just a tent that is ready to use. On top of that, I wanted the double wall tent. I did not want a single wall. I don't want to have to deal with condensation. I mean, I want lightweight, but I also want it to be easy. And the setup on this one is really nice. I had no condensation here last night, though perhaps the weather wasn't going to do that anyway. So after some more tests, we'll see how it goes. But I do love the way it's built, the way it's made. There was a lot of thought put into how it sets up and to make it easy to use. So quality-wise, very happy with it. Roominess, happy for a one-person tent. It's roomy for a one-person tent. And ease of setting up, very good. One of the other things I love about this Durston X-Mid 1 tent is how small it packs up. It fits so nicely in my pack. Overall, I think it's going to be a great tent. I can't wait to put it to more use and see how it goes in some more challenging weather.